Okay, we're going to review for the final exam for Manufacturing 2202, and we begin by bringing up the Word document and taking a look at the instructions. For simple instructions, very similar to the midterm that we took earlier. Basically, we're going to start off by modeling the clock body. Then we're going to create an assembly. There are components already in your folder. If you look under your SolidWorks sample files, you'll find the clock parts, and they're all inside of a folder. So here's actually the drawing that you can use to generate the model that we need to create first in order to create the clock. So we begin by going to SolidWorks and go to File, New, and make sure that you are in an ANSI inch template. Most likely you don't have these templates on your computer, so you'll have to go over to the tools options over here and make sure you select ANSI and inch with 3 decimal places. Okay, we're going to begin by selecting the front plane and start our sketch. Now as we look at the drawing here, we have basically it's just a circle to start off with, an 8-inch diameter circle, and the thickness is going to be about 3/4 of an inch. So let's take the circle tool, drag out our circle, go to Smart Dimension, and plug in 8 inches. Now we could go to Features. Actually, we could put the center circle in as well. Might as well get that out of the way. And that's a 1/2 inch diameter. Okay, now we could go to Features and Extrude Boss 0.75. The next thing we're going to do, we'll select this face here, start our sketch, draw another circle from the center out, and dimension that. That should be 7 inches according to the drawing here. And that's going to go a depth cut of 0.125. So we go to Features, Extrude Cut, 0.125. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and start another sketch right on this face. And again, in the center of the circle, this is going to be 6.5. And as we look at the drawing for that 6.5 inch depth, we can see we drew it off of this face right here, so we just need to go down to a 1/2 inch. So we go to Features, Extrude Cut, 0.5. Okay, the next step is let's go ahead and flip it around and select the back face, start our sketch, and draw a circle there. And according to our print, we can see that's 7.5, and that goes a depth of 0.125. So we'll dimension that, 7.5. And then Features, Extrude Cut, 0.125. One thing you don't want to forget, make sure you put the fillet on. The fillet, according to the print, is going to be 0.25. Select the edge and apply. Okay, now we're going to put the one of the little buttons on here. So we'll start a sketch. We're going to draw a circle from the center out, and right away make sure that's set to for construction. This is very important. While that circle is still selected, check the for construction box so it's dashed, meaning that SolidWorks will not try and extrude it when you add this material. So now we could go and dimension that. And according to the print, that is going to be 5 inches. And now we could take the circle tool again, and at the quadrant up at the top here, draw out a circle and dimension it according to the parenthesis 0.375. And now we go to Features, Extrude Boss, and that's a raised boss of 0.125. And now we get to make a circular pattern of 12 of these. So we go to where it says Pattern here, Linear Pattern, find Circular Pattern, and the axis for the pattern can be any of these edges. And make sure it's set to equal spacing, 360 degrees, and make sure there's 12 instances. And apply. Okay, now we have to work on the back side, so we'll select this back face here. We'll go normal 2, and we'll draw some center lines. So we go to the line, instead of line, make sure you select center line, draw vertical center line, and then a horizontal center line. And draw a circle right in between those two there. And let's dimension it. And the diameter, I believe, is going to be 0.25. And it's 1 inch from the center. And make sure you locate it 1 inch from this edge and 1 inch from this center line. Hit apply. Now you just have to mirror it. Click and drag a fence around the vertical center line and make sure you envelop the circle itself, and then you should be able to click on mirror entities. Now click and drag a fence surrounding the horizontal center line and the two circles. Make sure that if you drag it from left to right, that you don't have the vertical center line in the selection mode. If so, you could always hold the control key down and click and deselect it. And we'll hit mirror entities again. So now we have our 4 posts, which we just have to extrude. And these get extruded 0.25 high. And that completes the first part of this test. Now just make sure you save this. And we will save this as the clock body. Okay, step 2. Now we get to bring this into an assembly and start building it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to File, New, and select Assembly. And we could select the clock, and we could drop it in at the origin. If you don't see your origin, go to View and turn on Origins. Drop it right in at the origin. There it is. And the next thing we're going to do is start inserting the other components. So to insert the other components here, it's just a matter of going to Insert Components and select that. Go to Browse and make sure you locate your Manufacturing 2202 sample files and final clock parts. And the first thing we'll drop in here is, let's drop in the chrono housing. Hit open, drop it right over here. And now we have to mate that, so we'll take the paper clip, we'll select this face here to this face right here. Make sure it's pointing the right direction. In this case it's not, and that's why we have this little button here, Flip Mate Alignment. The next thing you could do is you could select the edge of one of these holes and make sure you find the aligned hole to it. Select that edge. And there it is. Completely mated. Needs no more mates on that particular one. Let's drop in another component. Insert Component, Browse, and let's start dropping in the minute hand. Actually, we'll drop in the hour hand first. Click and drop in front. Select the mate, select this edge, and make sure you select the edge transition between the black and the white surfaces. And you might need to flip it so it's not overlapping the model or intersecting. Okay, hit apply. Let's go back to Insert Component, Browse, and we'll select the minute hand now. And do the same thing. Go to Mate, select this edge here, and select the transition between the gray and the white surface. So right there, that edge. And if you see a zebra stripe, that's an indication that there's an interference taking place. So just make sure you hit the Flip Mate Alignment so it flips on the outside. Okay, and if you did it correctly, it should point to 3 o'clock. Next thing that we want to do, also these can be moved, so it's not really a big deal if for some reason something happens and they don't look exactly right. But next thing we want to do is we're going to go ahead and drop the lens in. So again, we go to Insert Component, Browse, let's find the lens, drop that over here, select Mate, select the edge there, and then this little lip. And we can see it's in the wrong direction, so again we hit Flip Mate Alignment and apply. Okay, if you want to see through that lens, it's just a simple right click. Actually, we'll hit apply first to get out of Mate. Now you could right click on the surface of it, and there's this change transparency option. It's not a requirement, but if you want to see your clock body components inside there, that's not a bad idea. Alright, the next thing we have to do is drop in the little flange that goes on here and then the bolts. So again, we go to Insert Component, Browse, and we'll select the bracket, drop it over here, and proceed to mate it. Select the edge there, and make sure you select the relevant edge, in this case, this one here. If you need to flip it, click on the flip and hit apply. Now the next thing we're going to do is we could just go ahead and align these two holes. So I just grab this with the left mouse button, drag it over a little bit, select that surface and this surface to align the two holes. Hit apply. Insert Component once again, Browse, bring in a bolt, drop it nearby the hole. So, not a bad idea to make sure it's a little bit above this surface here like this, or else it will intersect the part, make it a little tricky. But let's go to Mate, select this face here and that face. And then if you want this to be to this surface, actually let me clear that selection there. Select this surface and then flip this around and select this underside face and hit apply. Okay, now I'm going to drag off a copy. I could go back to Insert Component and bring in another one, but here's another simpler way. Hold the Control key down, then grab the bolt, make sure you hold the left mouse button down, and drag off a copy. Release the left mouse button first, then you can release Control after you see the copy made. And now once again, we could go ahead and use the Mate tool and select the surfaces that we want to align these two. Drag that up a little bit so we could see it. We want this underside face to contact this face here. Alright, make sure you save it. Almost done with this, but it's not a bad idea to save these regularly. Because the next step is we need to explode this for our drawing. And we can't do that in the drawing. It has to be done in the part file. So we go to Exploded View. We want to grab the lens. The trick of grabbing the lens, because it's set to transparent, it'll try and grab through it. The Shift key on the keyboard, if you hold that down, it will select the transparent object first. Hold on, actually. It seems to be give me a little bit of a headache here, trying to select the lens. Okay, apparently mine must be turned off. Anyway, I didn't have to hold the Shift key to do it, but generally you do. Grab the rocket that little line there, drag it forward with the left mouse button. Then go ahead and select the minute hand, then select the hour hand and grab the rocket again. Oh, wrong one. Select it through the part for me there. Actually, I'm going to hit the undo button because I didn't want that part just yet. Let me cancel out of here for a second. Apparently it was selecting through the model. That's okay. Let's go back to Exploded View. And we'll do that again. We'll select the lens, drag that through, select the minute hand, select the hour hand. Seems to be maybe a bug there. Just get rid of that one. And I'm going to deselect it and try and select this a little more discreetly. Okay, I had to rotate it a little bit. Looks like it's a bug in this version of SolidWorks. I will drag that forward. Now we could go ahead and select all of these components that are attached, with the exception of the clock bezel. And I'm going to drag the rocket back. And now we could select the bolts and the flange. And then drag the rocket. Drag it up a little bit higher. And now just click on the flange and drag it down. Okay, the next thing to do is let's go ahead and apply that. And now we could add the exploded line sketch. The exploded line sketch, we just select an edge here, make sure that the arrowhead flips, and then select an edge over here, not a point, and hit the green check mark to apply. And then same with these. Click on this, make sure the arrowhead points in the direction the line's going to be drawn. Hit apply. Flip the rocket and apply. Okay, now we can just go ahead and save what we have. I'm going to actually go to View and turn off Origins. Go to Save. If you get a message, Rebuild Now, just hit Yes. And you've finished the second portion of this. Now we just have to create a drawing from it. So take a look at the drawing that you have to generate. It has to have the isometric view, has to have a front view with hidden lines, a bottom view, a left side view, a section view to the right with no hidden lines, and a detail view with no hidden lines. Also, you need a bill of materials and balloons and your name. So let's get started. To do this, we could just go to File, Make Drawing from Assembly. Make sure you select an ANSI A size. Actually, you probably don't have that template, so make sure you select just an A size sheet so you can print it out. And now we're going to go ahead and drop in the front, drag out the left, the bottom, and an isometric, and apply. Bring the isometric over to the right, drag it out in the open, then right click, and from here you're going to go ahead and select Properties, and there's a checkbox, Show an Exploded State. Now this should be hidden lines, so we select the view, and over on the left, while it's selected, we'll see hidden lines visible. Okay. However, notice it turned all of them that were related to that because it's a master view, hidden lines. So this one we don't want hidden lines, so we'll select that, and we'll select the hidden lines removed option. Now for our section view. Under View Layout, we find the section view icon. Glide up, make sure you infer to the quadrant, click and drag it straight through, all the way up above the other one. And we want auto hatching activated. That will change the hatch pattern part. And we probably want to flip the direction here. So hit OK. And I'll click to drop it to the right side. Now you'll see the hidden lines are turned on here. So again, make sure you select the view and over to the left here, find hidden lines removed. The next thing we're going to do is a detail view. Select the detail view, glide up to some certain area that you want to show a detail of. I'll select this area here and drag off the detail view. Okay, as for the isometric view, we might want to enlarge that. So select the view so you get the blue border around it. And over here we could say use custom sheet scale, and let's change it to a quarter scale. Hit apply. All right. The next step, again, make sure your name's on there. That's done under annotations. You can select note. Also, let's add some balloons. There's auto balloon. Let's select this view. Click on auto balloon. This is under annotations again. And we'll do a circular square. Actually looks pretty good. Hit apply. And then locate these however you like so they look decent. And that they're not off the page. Okay, while the view is still selected, go to Tables and create a bill of materials. Avoid the Excel-based bill of materials in this case. And just hit the green check mark and then drop it in the top left-hand corner by clicking and hit apply. If there is an issue with the size of your fonts on the sheet, you can change that by going to the Tools Options menu. Go to Document Properties. First of all, make sure you're in ANSI. The units should be 3 decimal places and IPS, inch pound second. Annotations font, select that and make sure under Tables that you have it set to at least 12 maximum. 8 will work really well too, or anything in between there. Make sure the name's on there, full name, and save it, and then go ahead and print it. Turn it in, and you're done. And this concludes the review for the final exam for Manufacturing 2202.